Hi there, I'm Nancy Nash with Starfish Strength, and today I want to talk to you about feet. So to be really honest with you, I'm not talking to you about feet because they're my favorite. In fact, my feet are pretty unfantastic looking. As a person that has sustained a lot of foot and ankle injuries, I have learned a lot over the years about taking care of my feet. The more I have taken care of my feet, I've seen that it improved my life. And when I became a personal trainer, that made me curious for how I could help other people walk better and feel better on a regular basis. So today I want to give you an angle on a couple things you can do a couple times a week to keep your feet feeling as fabulous as possible. So for today's demonstration, you'll need a sturdy chair that you can sit down in. You'll need a ball that's about tennis ball size. A lacrosse ball works better than a tennis ball. And in my opinion, the cork balls work better than both of those options. And I'll link below about where you can find your own. I'm also going to utilize the small ball here, which is about the size of a golf ball. Wouldn't recommend a golf ball, but if you have a massage ball this size, we're going to use that too. Shelby, do you have anything you want to add?
Starfish Strength Inc. recommends that you consult your healthcare professional before beginning any exercise program. This content is intended for informational purposes and should not be used to self-diagnose or self-treat any health, medical, or physical condition.
Great, let's get started. I'm going to start by putting my larger ball on the arch of the foot, and I'm going to roll to the heel and then back to right below the toe bones. So going back and forth. So this might feel like kind of a smooth glide, or it might feel kind of bumpy. You might be able to kind of see that mine's kind of bumpy, telling me that my plantar fascia is pretty tight on the bottom of the foot there. And that greatly affects my ankle mobility. If you ever have pain in the heel or in the back of your ankle, or sometimes it really reflects up the knee, you can have referral pain. So you might find that taking care of your feet actually helps your knees feel a whole lot better, because spoiler alert, a lot of knee pain is due to either an ankle or a hip problem. I should find after doing this a few times that this starts to feel just a little bit easier back and forth. You can also go side to side, but I'm actually going to say that the small ball works even better for that. So I'm going to go side to side right underneath where the toes feel like they connect into the rest of the foot, right below the ball of the foot, back and forth. If you've had something like a hammer toe, some sort of foot surgery, other foot injuries, you might find that it feels beneficial to kind of go in between the metatarsals, back and forth in between my toes. And then the other thing we're going to do with the small ball is go right around the base of the heel. Because you might find, depending on how you put your weight in your foot when you walk, that it's a little bit tighter on the arch side, or it's a little bit tighter towards the outside, the outer blade edge of your foot. All right, so once I've given that maybe 60 seconds of attention, I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to again go forward and back. So as I'm rolling back and forth, I'm also kind of flexing the ankle, pulling the toes back towards me, and then pointing the toes slightly. Taking our small ball again, going back and forth, right underneath the ball of the foot, and then I'm going to go in between the metatarsals, the toe bones, and then I'm gonna go around the base of the heel here too. So you might find this feels entirely different left to right. So I definitely tend to put a little more pressure on the inside of my right foot and the outside of my left foot. And because my feet are so uneven, you might even kind of be able to see it here. This knuckle actually protrudes more out to the side. And I've sustained a lot of inversion sprains when I was younger on this side. So I actually have quite a bit of scar tissue still that I can feel in here. Having broken this area of the foot twice, I'm laughing just because who does that? Maybe you have your own story you can tell me below. So now we're going to take the ball on top of the foot. So I kind of use my larger ball here to just kind of roll generally on top of the ball of the foot. And I like to roll back and forth because I'm really thinking about just creating a little bit of space in the joints, if you will. You do have fascia on top of the foot, so freeing this up can really help movement as well. And then I'm going to do that on the other side too. So again, I said I really like this little ball for this. I'm going to use the little ball on top here. So I find that I can get into those tight areas just a little more effectively. So especially if you have a toe that seems to be really tight, that you can't move very well, you can't bend very well, definitely recommend giving this little ball a try. So now I'm going to recommend rolling the actual ankle itself. All right, so again, I can kind of roll generally with the big ball, but for me, this little ball, as someone that has been injured quite a bit, is really effective for the areas I've injured. So this can really help with circulation, help heal those areas, help break up scar tissue adhesions. So seriously, if you've had any sort of foot or ankle problem, or maybe even a knee problem, this is worth giving a shot. So this requires a little more flexibility, but I'm going to actually have you bring one leg up to cross on top of the opposite knee, seated in the chair. So I'm going to take my opposite hand, interlace fingers with toes, and then I'm actually just going to turn side to side here. So what I'm trying to do is just loosen up all of those joints where the toes actually connect into the foot. So this is really, uncomfortable. I could manually take my hands and put them on the sides and wiggle the foot back and forth like that. I am meant to turn a little bit in the foot back and forth, and some of us lose that flexibility over time. So if you notice that all of your toes don't make contact with the ground, this is something to really try on a regular basis, because all of them are supposed to be helping out a little bit, even pinky toe. He's pretty important actually in this equation. Now, if you're a person that has a really tight big toe and you've experienced pain in that joint, actually taking the big toe and just making a little circle can be really helpful. And I'm going to hold the rest of my foot with my other hand. So you don't want to do this if it's painful, but now that we've been rolling for a little bit, hopefully this feels just a little bit looser and you can work through a little bit of that tension, and maybe now it moves just a little more freely. Now I can take this back and forth. So we went side to side first, and now we're going to go back and forth. And maybe if you really feel like both of those feel good, you can start to kind of go in a figure eight. You want to make sure this feels good for your wrist too. But if you're like me, your feet actually tend to be a lot tighter than your hands. All right, the other thing we're going to do is take both thumbs and just kind of go right up the center of the foot, provided you can't tickle your own feet, hopefully not. And then I'm going to have you take both hands and put them on either side of your ankle, kind of right under, you feel your bone there, so right below the bone. And then I'm just going to make circles in both directions. So I'm not really putting a lot of pressure, just trying to provide kind of a gentle massage as the ankle makes its circle. Going to the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. So first I'm going to go back and forth, either fingers interlaced in the toes or hands on the side of the foot, going back and forth, and then take the fingers and move the foot forward and back. And if I have tight toes on this side, on my left side, it actually seems to be my first toe. I'm gonna make that little circle And just loosen those joints a little bit. And then going straight down the center with my thumbs and kind of bending the foot at the end there, especially if you have kind of flat feet. For me, my feet flattened a lot when I gained a lot of weight. Sometimes that happens in pregnancy as the feet expand. It could have happened because of injury or movement patterns, or maybe you just always have had flat feet. All right, and then I'm gonna take my thumbs and my first finger and middle finger and put a little pressure on both sides of the ankle and then make those ankle circles. So for me, I can feel the scar tissue on the outside of my ankle here, having sprained it so many times. But this can really help make everything more flexible. Over time, you can actually break up adhesions and scar tissue and regain that mobility, which has been hugely important for me in making sure that I can walk like a normal person. Thanks so much for watching. I hope your feet feel just a little more fabulous and you found something today that you can use to seize your inner star. If you'd like a one-on-one consultation with me to take this a little bit further, I'll leave a link for that in the comments below. And if you have any other questions, I'd love to hear those, or just what topics you'd like to see me cover next. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next video. So many injuries in my feet and ankle as a kid. Petey, do you have something you want to say?